What's up and welcome back to Nowstalgia Pod, your weekly look what's going on in pop culture. My name is Pat Sheen. I am here with my co-host, Dave Martinson. Welcome back, dog. How was your 2-week vacation?
Premeditated murder. That was really good.
I'm glad to hear it. If you've been following the pod, we did a movie review last week, didn't touch on any of the stuff. And of course, basically everything blew up in the last week or so. So pretty obvious that we were not recording it live, but that's okay because we're going to catch up today. We got a ton to get to. This is going to be an all music pod. Be looking for a movie and TV or just movie, I think. Pod down later in the week. Why don't we start with something that we talked about before, just to kind of bookend this, or at least update our listeners on the saga. Spotify mentioned that they are going to be taking a step back from their policy, so that they're not going to be promoting problematic artists like XXXTentacion,
R. Kelly,
and R. Kelly. We kind of mentioned that this is going to be a tough policy for them to maintain and sustain, but I was wondering what were your thoughts around them kind of saying, we're going to walk this back a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't that surprised because if we remember when they got challenged on it, remember when X's team responds, well, what about all of these people that are of blank, And then they're like, well, it's a case by case basis. It didn't seem like they had totally thought it out. So, walking it back, you kind of see all it coming, especially when reportedly artist camps, including Kendrick Lamar, threatened to pull music from Spotify if the policy remained, which is pretty nutty. Because and also Spotify is the most subscribed to streaming service, going 70 million plus. But Apple Music's been closing that gap. Apple Music, I think, most recently was up to 50. So they couldn't afford to have that like streaming exclusive thing come back into play, So I think Spotify wants to protect itself in the end of the day. If that means XXXTentacion has to go back on Rap Caviar, they're going to do it. I mean, it's just weird because like it didn't seem like they had a lot of conviction about the policy, but they still put it out in the first place. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's definitely strange. When we talked about it, I think we check that out, soundcloud.com/nostalgiapod, or subscribe on YouTube below. One of the things we mentioned, which is just going to be a lot of work for them to be kind of going by case basis, and where is that line drawn? It's such a gray area, and it's all, a lot of it is just allegations at this point. There's no charges, and a lot of this gets even taken care of behind the scenes. It never actually follows through in court. So then you're kind of just leaving in this like, well, what did we as Spotify set the moral standard to be? So this was just too difficult of a thing to kind of put in place right now. If you're going to take down one problematic artist, you have to take down a lot of other ones, and just the backlash of it. Spotify's a business in the long run. So, and
that's the thing, they weren't even taking it down. Remember, they were just not programming.
Right.
We're not going to put you on our influential playlist because we don't want to prop you up. And at the end of the day, that doesn't sound like I don't believe it's an outrageous thing. I said that before, but there was still some backlash from it from the music industry, and Spotify's a product of the industry at the end of the day. So, I think it kind of sucks, but I mean, reportedly X's streams did go down when this happened. Then R. Kelly's briefly peaked, but he doesn't have a lot of streams to begin with. So I don't know. It's it might not be the last we've heard of it, but probably the last we've heard of it for some time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something we'll be keeping track of. So stay tuned in to our podcast to get the updates on that. So you got back from a vacation abroad, come home, and head right to Governor's Ball for the Saturday. Tell me about your experience at Governor's Ball this year, the 2018 version of the festival.
Yeah, you gotta do it for the culture, man. No days off. I went to one day this year, Saturday, and I saw Jay Electronica, Kalela, 2 Chainz, Pusha T, Halsey, and Travis Scott. And it was actually a great day. I really liked everyone I saw. A lot of cool moments. And generally speaking, I thought a lot of the crowds were really great. Pusha T and Travis Scott were my big standouts. But even like Jay Electronica was at 215. I mean, obviously he's he kind of made this joke on his on stage. He was like, some people know me as that guy who never put out an album, which I mean, Yeah, dog. And rap heads know me as the guy who made Exhibit A and Exhibit C. And then if you go into Whole Foods, people know me as Erica Badu's baby daddy. That was hilarious. But then he also, and I tweeted this, but at Martin Swagger, but he brought out like everyone on stage, and I was like, I had flashes of when I saw Tyler the Creator in 2013, where like he got his set shut down, and it was like, Jay, like you're doing the 2:15 set, dog. I don't know if you have the fucking pull to just tell the security guards to fuck off, but he did, and they let him stay on for a while. Then he actually like waded into the crowd, which was really funny. He was doing all of his second verses a cappella. So he was actually really, really compelling, you know.
That's awesome.
Quote, album coming soon. So as we all know,
incredibly engaging, it sounds like. And
yeah, for
definitely
sure.
how you gain a loyal fan base is being interactive with the fans.
Yeah, definitely. And then he hung around afterwards and dapped everyone up and stuff. I was really impressed. Kalela played Let Me Know, my favorite song from her album Take Me Apart last year, which was on our Spotify playlist. She played that as her first song. And I'm like, oh, cool. I don't have to feel bad about leaving early to go get a good spot for 2 Chainz. I already saw the song I wanted to see.
Right.
But she was cool. 2 Chainz played I'm Different before I had to leave for Pusha T. And I think, honestly, like I saw I'm Different from 2 Chainz. I saw New Gotta Flow from Pusha T. And I saw Exhibit C from Jay Electronica, and I think those are 3 of the greatest rap songs of the century. And so I was very happy with that. Pusha T, I felt like I was at a moment for Pusha T because this was his first like public appearance since Daytona came out, since the Drake beef happened, which we'll get to, of course.
Well, and he was filling in for Brockhampton, who canceled their tour after
Amir Van.
I was going to say Van Meer, was kicked out of the group. So this is, I mean, huge that not only is he in the middle of this beef, he just dropped this awesome album, but then he gets booked for Governor's Ball. This is his first set since all this happened. So that's huge.
Yeah, and the crowd, this is in the tent, the crowd wanted fucking blood. Like the crowd was hyped. Like the DJ warmed up with some like good music songs, like, you know, Can't Tell Me Nothing stuff. And man, the crowd was so fucking jazzed. And then, yeah, like anytime there was a lull, people were yelling like fuck Drake, fuck Drake, fuck Drake. And like, you know, Pusha after a while was just like, like relax kind of deal. But I mean, I'd seen Pusha at the Meadows as well, but he, like Jay Electronica, he's just a consummate professional. He's really great. And New Godflow, grinding basically all of Daytona, I think, or at least like 6 of the songs. And like the energy was insane. Then he did Mercy and I Don't Like. He was fantastic. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. What about Travis Scott? I mean, Halsey, I kind of know what we're getting from her at this point.
She was fine. You know, I think she actually, I was impressed with Halsey. The crowd, she played a lot of, like, she has 2, big platinum albums. I mean, they're not like great projects in our opinion, but she's really popular. And I was surprised rather that a lot of her crowd knew the album deep cuts, like word by word, like the non-singles. So I was actually impressed with the fans. But then Travis was a fucking movie, dude. He obviously has the reputation of being an amazing live performer. But what really stands out about Travis Scott is that he makes his songs better live. Like a song like Butterfly Effect, which is a big song for him that came out last year, but it's kind of mellow. And that song is the hypest shit ever when he performs it. And I mean, there's that amazing video of him performing it over in Europe at Open Air Fraulein, and like the Europeans are going nuts to Butterfly Effect, and it's same thing for here. He brought out fucking what's his name, Wes Sheck for Mo Bamba, the New York guy. He's so new, we didn't even talk about him for XXL Freshman, but that was pretty dope. James Harden was there on the side, and yeah, Travis, like, he like gallops on stage. He just has this presence, the way he performs, and like, he's all about the rage. And I mean, I chose to wait in line for a good spot for Travis for like an hour and a half, as opposed to watching Russ. Of course, why would I watch Russ? But it was worth it. He was great.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad that you had a good time. Governor's Ball. I was gonna go Friday, ended up skipping out based on weather reports, and just decided to go see Pretty Lights in August instead. So I'll review that concert when I go. But someone that you didn't see because you didn't go on Friday is your guy, the John Mayer 2.0, Shawn Mendes, who dropped a new album, self-titled. It's his third a studio album. I don't know if he has any other non-studio albums, so I don't know why.
I mean, he's only 19.
Yeah, young buck,
former Vine star.
Yeah, I was gonna say he made it big on Vine. He's obviously blown up the last couple of years. Stitches. I mean, that song was freaking everywhere. Treat You Better, Nothing Holding Me Back. He's got a lot of like, pop.
I know what you did last summer with Camila Cabello. He's got those are 4 mega smashes. You just named.
And I mean, he's 19, like you said again. He's that in that pop rock singer songwriter type lane. I didn't really have any expectations going into this because I've never really found his work compelling. I kind of just see him kind of like John Mayer 2.0, where although I think there's more of an attachment to me, and probably a nostalgic one to John Mayer at this point. But
sure.
Well, what was your take on this album? I mean, it's 44 minutes, not too long.
Yeah, my take was that I thought it was a lot better than his previous work. I thought it was. I think he initially he came off as a little amateurish, like lyrically simple, which is one thing. But in general, it just seemed like all right, Shawn Mendes is talented, but we know these albums he's making at 17 are not going to be as good as the one he makes at 25.
Sure.
And I thought this self-titled album, his third record, and his third album since 2015. So he's been pretty prolific. I think it just stands out more. Songs like Lost in Japan and Where Were You in the Morning, like those songs sound so different from anything on his previous work. It's just, I think like he does more with his vocals. I think the production is a lot more varied. And, I mean, I think it's weird because he's like, I mean, he spoke about his popularity. I mean, he's the third youngest solo artist to have 3 #1 albums, which
crazy,
is insane. Could you guess who the other 2 people would be by chance? Third youngest solo artist to have 3 #1 records.
3 #1, 3. Yeah. Are they all rock related?
Not rock. They're both recent. They're both still active.
Bieber.
Yep.
And I'm trying to. I don't know who else.
Miley Cyrus.
That makes sense. Miley Cyrus. Yeah.
But and I think Shawn Mendes. He's only 19 years old. He's kind of like a Gen Z like rock star. Like the kids eat him up, and I'm part of that. He's got that strong jaw. He's an attractive dude, but I do think he's a talented guy. And you bring up the John Mayer comparison. I don't think the John Mayer comparison worked at all until this album, because I think that the music he was making didn't really sound like John Mayer to me until recently, in my opinion.
John Mayer was asked about him in an interview recently, and he described his body. I'm trying to see if I can remember the quote. He described it as like that skinny athletic with like a magic trick body. And I was like, what are you talking about, John Mayer? Yeah, I agree. The 2 songs that stood out to me also were Lost in Japan and Where Were You in the Morning. Both of those did have a much more like mature sound. He was talking about stuff that I think was a little bit edgier than his other albums, but still, like, this is as hard as this guy gets, is like being upset that someone's not there after a one night stand. Like,
right. He's Mutual's the same way too.
Yeah.
You got to reciprocate.
Yeah, exactly. The thing about those songs though, is he's definitely trying something, and he kind of nails that like funky groove vibe, almost kind of in a way, dare I say, like the 1975 in a sense, like in some of this, who also, we should say are going to be dropping a new album very soon. So something to keep track of that I will not listen to, but I'll let you talk about if you want to when it comes out.
I like one of their songs, but I'm not a 1975 fan.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's Shawn Mendes is similar. He's definitely in a stratosphere above Charlie Puth, but I
was going to ask you about that, because that Charlie Puth record, there's like 4 songs that I was listening to a lot on my trip. I gotta give like the 4 songs I like, I really fucking dig. But I think Shawn Mendes probably doesn't have the pen of Charlie Puth, but he has more of the showmanship, Yeah. And they have different strengths.
Well, it's kind of like Justin Bieber. Like, there are probably pop stars who are more talented or, better lyrically, but Bieber's just got that draw. He's just a legitimate star. And I think Mendes has that. He's like, he's kind of like One Direction or anyone like that. They grab that teen backing and they don't let go of it because they can kind of manipulate it and have those people follow him. They're rabid fans. So Mendes, I see above Puth, but I think they're kind of in the same level in terms of where they're at musically.
Yeah. And this record, 182,000 first week, 142,000 were traditional album sales. So in terms of pure sales, that's the 5th biggest week of the year behind Post Malone, Jason Aldean, J. Cole, and Justin Timberlake.
Yeah,
and,
man.
In terms of the company he's keeping, in terms of pure sales, like the dude's going to be a force.
Yeah, I was just looking on Spotify at the numbers of his songs, the plays, and I was like, oh, these probably got like a couple million. And he's like in like the 15, 20 million range for some of these, even higher for his hits. I'm like, holy crap, this guy he's a juggernaut right now. Why don't we move on though to the CHVRCHES, their third album as well. A lot of third albums we're talking about today, strangely enough. Love is Dead. So CHVRCHES, they became big. What was it? 2013 with
relatively recently.
What was that?
I said a relatively recent band. I actually thought they were older than they were.
Yeah, 2013's Every Open Eye. Obviously, they blew up with the song "Leave a Trace." It was 2015's Every Open Eye. I'm sorry, and then The Bones of What You Believe was their 2013 album with the song Mother We Share, which was their breakout hit from that. Very synth poppy band from Scotland. They sounded as close to like self-produced as like rock bands did at that time, and even on their last album had the same kind of feel. But they brought in the big guns for this record. They brought in Greg Kurstin, producer we've been talking about, and Steve Mack, who's produced like One Direction and Ed Sheeran and Ariana Grande. So they brought in the big guns to try to push this album to the next level. Did this album push CHVRCHES to the next level for you, Dave?
Well, they definitely tried. There's definitely more pop sensibilities.
That was like the most like, nope, but they were kind of there.
No, I liked it. I mean, as a casual fan of them, I didn't think it sounded that much different than the first two albums.
Not at all.
Besides obvious radio leaning, So, I mean, I don't think they like compromised themselves, But do I expect them to make a big impact with this? No, probably not. In terms of like, big success or anything. Obviously, they're a very successful band. But I thought it was good, and I think it's probably a to be expected progression, 3 albums in.
Yeah, the thing about the album to me, I mean, I agree. The sound didn't change much. I think like a song like Graffiti, you kind of hear the backings, how they have like the chant in the background throughout the song, kind of pushing it forward. It was kind of a lopsided album. I feel like the back end of it was a lot weaker than the front end. Songs like Graffiti, Get Out, Miracle, My Enemy are all in the middle to the first half of the album. The end of it kind of tailed off for me. I found myself a little bit bored by the end. I also found their songwriting to be just kind of boring. It wasn't really anything super interesting. It was a lot of like heartbreak. Not even really like a new perspective on it in a lot of ways. But the songs that did bang, like I said, Graffiti, Get Out, Miracle, those songs fucking go for me.
Word.
Yeah. Did you notice? I know you're not a big rock head, but did you notice that the duet for My Enemy, who the singer was that was with her, Mayberry?
No,
it was Matt Berenger of the National.
Oh, that's the National guy.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of stuff recently, so someone to keep an eye on. But yeah, CHVRCHES. I don't know if this is the worst thing to say for them. I mean, the album was fine, but it kind of leaves us just saying, it's CHVRCHES, like another solid album. But
have you seen them live? Because I knew they took a while to come into their own in terms of performing.
I'm trying to think. I've definitely watched a live stream of them from Coachella. I don't remember if I ever saw them live though. I think they were at Gov Ball, I think for Friday. I think
they were. So was Shawn Mendes.
Yeah. So we missed them. Someone that from from the little research we did for this, we were surprised to find ASAP Rocky has never been at Governor's Ball, which it seems like a strange thing. I gotta look into that a little bit more. I'm sure he's on some like lower.
I've seen ASAP Ferg at Governor's Ball last year, but Rocky, as far as I could tell, has never been there, despite being a New York rapper and one of the biggest for a while, probably the biggest, New York rapper. But yeah, testing new album.
I'm pretty sure there's a line in this album where he raps, "I put New York on the map," which, I mean, what a claim.
For sure.
So his third album, I mean, this guy blew up in 2013 as well with
well, not really. He blew up in 2011 for his first tape.
Well, I don't remember his first tape. First album, I remember "Fucking Problems" off of.
Right,
that was
of course.
Huge. But yeah, give me a little bit more background on ASAP then, because obviously I'm not going back as far as his beginnings.
Well, yeah, Live Long ASAP, his first mixtape, came out in 2011. Mm-hmm. His only solo mixtape, and that Peso was on that, and Purple Swag, and like Rocky comes out and he's just a breath of fresh air. This New York guy with this Houston-based sound, and it's like really cloud rappy, and also like really aggressive, and he's immediately the most exciting thing in rap. And then, like as you alluded to, his debut album "Long Live ASAP" comes out in 2013, and that thing is just fucking loaded with hits. "Fucking Problems," his biggest hit to date. Obviously, a song with Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and 2 Chainz, as well as Rocky. "Wild for the Night" with Skrillex, "Suddenly," Phoenix, "Fashion Killer," Goldie. Like, so many hits. "Suddenly," Angels. Like, there's a million good songs in that, right? And everyone's like, wow, Rocky's like positioned to be like one of the next stars. Maybe he could challenge Drake, who was really coming up at that time, right? I mean, the interesting thing though is he didn't have any really big chart hits from that besides "Fucking Problems," which was a top 10 song. But I mean, when you're on a song with Drake and Kendrick was just blowing up then too, it's tough to give Rocky a lot of credit for that one. I mean, like, and "Wild for the Night," a song that's really popular, that peaked at like number 80, So like he didn't like make as many inroads as you would think off that album. And then in 2015, after 2-year break, "At Long Last" ASAP comes out, and that's kind of like really left field. Like, there's good cuts on that, like "Wavy Bone" and "Electric Body," and this whole time he's had some really good collabs with Schoolboy Q, "Electric Body" being the most recent one. But it was too long, there's too much bloat on it, and it was definitely like doubling down the cloud rap, getting like really like atmospheric. But also like not progressing lyrically, and again didn't make any chart entries really in any progression off that. I think "LSD" peaked at 62, so again nothing really major. And then since then, 2015, it's been a while, just like the wait for Pusha T's album. Rocky, he's been around, and like the Cozy Tape, ASAP Mog's mixtapes have come out and had some good songs, and ASAP Ferg has surprisingly become a complete artist himself. But Rocky, he's kind of been wanting more. And I mean, since "Fucking Problems," his biggest hits are "No Limit," which is his feature on a G-Eazy song with Cardi B. And he's just doing the hook. It's a simple hook, right? And like he has that's big song with Selena Gomez. And his next biggest hit is a fucking feature on Famous Dex's song "Pick It Up," which came out like 6 months ago. Like, it's just weird that Rocky has been able to like be relevant in that sense. I mean, obviously he's relevant. I mean, he dated Kendall Jenner. He's in the fashion scene. Like, it's not like Rocky's hurting or anything, but we've kind of just been a little disappointed recently with his output. And then you get to testing. He started teasing some songs on SoundCloud that didn't make this, but we were like, this shit sounds a little weird. So he just kind of fucking around. What is this? And then testing comes out, and concept of testing sounds. Obviously the something ASAP moniker changed, right? And like, I think like he wishes this was his Yeezus, and it's not. It's not Yeezus.
No. Yeah, testing is an appropriate name, I guess, because he's obviously someone that's trying to find like, who am I as an artist? Like, what's my lane at this point in the rap game? And he doesn't really find it on this. I mean, this is a very experimental and disjointed album.
Just uneven as fuck.
Yeah, even the production on it really isn't that great. I mean, and his flow at times doesn't even match the beat. It's strange. Even my favorite song, which is the remix to
ASAP Forever.
Yeah, ASAP Forever remix. Cudi kills it. And then there's like it kind of lulls down, and all of a sudden Moby comes in.
Yeah, like they're sampling Moby, and then they give you like the full song in case you didn't realize it was a Moby sample. Like, that was really stupid. Just because, like, why is the song, like, it's fine, you can stop the song now. Right. And I think there's good moments. Like obviously the Cudi feature, like you hear those hums and you're just like, yes.
Yeah.
And it's actually like a melodic Cudi verse. You know, it's
Yeah.
refreshing. It's unlike anything that's been in his recent albums.
Mhm.
I thought Buckshot was probably the best like solo Rocky song.
Yeah, Buckshot.
That's a tough song. That sounds kind of more vintage Rocky.
Mhm.
Praise the Lord, Skepta again with a great feature, just like on a song from Playboi Carti's album. And I thought Purity, Frank, another rap verse for ASAP. Obviously, he was on RAF from the ASAP from the Cozy tapes, and I thought Frank killed it on Purity. But other than that, I mean, like OG Beeper, decent, but like. I'm just disappointed because I know I to expect more from Rocky, and ever since Playboi Carti joined Mixtape, Playboi Carti has been hotter. It's just strange. I just don't understand like this weird bell curve Rocky's been on. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Rocky. I mean, I remember when when fucking Problems blew up, I was like, oh, this guy's gonna be freaking huge. He's gonna be one of like the bigger names in rap for the foreseeable future, and I don't think that of him anymore. I kind of see him as an artist struggling to really get his feet under him and kind of figure out where he's going at this point. It's kind of not only disappointing but just kind of sad, because I feel like there's a lot of potential that he just hasn't been able to really tap into yet.
And maybe how much would you attribute to ASAP Yams passing? ASAP Yams, of course, was like the creative energy, creative force behind all of the mob. And I mean, he was really influential in making Rocky. Rocky was the first ASAP member to have any buzz whatsoever. And I mean, I'm not gonna totally discredit Rocky's contributions. Obviously it's on him, but like maybe he's still kind of a little aimless post Yams. Who knows?
Could be.
I mean shit, like I saw Rocky live in 2012, was it? I caught him on a stage dive. He says, "Bitch, don't touch my braids," but I touch the braids. Like, like I fucking love ASAP Rocky's great songs, and this is just a miss. And I mean, it's doing decent, 75,000 first week, only 13,000 traditional, of course, like a new rap release, generally true. That's number 4. That's 75,000 on 15 tracks. Number 4, which lost out to Pusha T, who did 77,000 on 7 tracks. So
Daytona, dog.
Doesn't look good for Rocky.
If you know, you know. Our guy Push, when he was Rocky's age, he was still with Clips, obviously.
Correct.
With his brother. But he's come a long way. Now he's the president of Good Music. Took that over from Kanye West. He's also basically the cocaine cowboy of the rap world. That's his
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah, the Pablo Escobar of rap. Man, Daytona. So this is his follow-up to the prelude to King Push, Darkest
Before Dawn, the prelude to King Push, I believe.
Which the only song I think I really recall off that is Untouchable.
Money, Pussy, Alcohol, Crosses, Crutches, Caskets. It was good. It's good record. Just like My Name Is My Name, his debut solo album.
Push is he's a very established artist at this point. Someone that
how old is he? 40, 42?
Yeah, something like that. I think he's
41.
Yeah. When I think of Push, obviously, I think, knowing I'm a Kanye fan, I think about Runaway, and like this is the guy that can come in and just like ether a song and just totally take it over. And his solo albums have been pretty good, but nothing that I would put in like album of the year discussion. Nothing that I thought like pushed him to another level of stardom as an artist. Daytona might be an album that starts to do this for Pusha. I mean, he's still talking about slinging cocaine. He's still talking about rap beefs, and you can't take the guy out of his original habitat. He is who he is. But this
also
album,
what he does best.
Yeah.
Why would you want him to change?
Exactly. And this album fucking bangs, dude. From the moment that beat drop on If You Know, You Know, like drops, it's just a heater up until the final minute on the 21-minute track, 21-minute album. Kanye produced. I want to hear when you first listened to this, what was your initial reaction?
Oh, I mean, yeah, the Kanye production is like vintage Kanye production, and
vintage.
We're getting to Ye later, but Kanye gave the better beats to Pusha. Like, not even up for debate. You know,
Mhm.
I think if you know, you know, and the games we play back to back, it's just like is layered production. There's a lot of assumingly expensive ass samples on this. It's very impressive sonically, just because it's so well put together.
And the thing is, it doesn't like just stay at the same level. Like a song like If You Know You Know is such like there's so much going on, and then you get to a song like Hard Piano or even like Santeria when things drop out. Like it's like he does so much with so little at points on this too. Kanye's production is like top notch on this. Do you think Kanye was the only producer on this? Is he the only one credited? I didn't even check.
He's not the only one credited, but he is credited on every song. Mike Dean is also credited on Santeria.
That makes sense.
But Kanye did Infrared by himself, What Meek Do by himself, and If You Know, You Know by himself. So it's by and large Kanye.
Yeah, if you know, you know is like a classic Kanye beat, like through and through at this point. Well, what was your favorite song off the album? I think I asked you this when you were abroad, and you were like, "Haven't picked one yet." Like, there's too many.
It's true. I thought Infrared had made the biggest impact on me because of the, Sound Like Nas, but it came from Quentin, jab at Drake, which obviously spilled over into more, which we'll get to. What Would Meek Do has the Kanye feature, which is it's not a vintage Kanye verse, but I thought it was good, much better than his verse on Watch, the Travis Scott song. If You Know, You Know, I think it's a great intro, but I think Games We Play is the song I've been playing back the most.
Yeah.
But Comeback Baby's really good too. Honestly, I really like everything on here. I think my low points, and again, this is a great 7 albums of 7 good songs, 7 great songs. It's just what songs I think are less good. I think Hard Piano and Santeria are my 2 least favorite. Not that I think they're bad.
Yeah. It's funny because I think I asked like maybe like 7 or 8 people I know listened to this album and were hyped about it, and everybody picked something a little bit different that they liked, and that was their favorite part. I had a friend that was like, "Oh, Hard Piano, like that's the shit." I had someone else who was all about Infrared. Like it's interesting to see how basically the songs range from good to excellent on this. Yep. And it's up there for one of the best albums of the year for me, which is surprising for Pusha. I mean, like we said, we kind of knew what he was. He's not really going too far out of his lane here, but he just kills it on this. I thought the only knock I might have is I did think the guest verses took something away. Like Kanye was okay, but he wasn't great, and Rick Ross sounded kind of lethargic on his verse.
That's why I think the whole second half of Hard Piano just sounds kind of out of place.
Yeah. Agreed. So Infrared took some shots at Drake on this. And I mean, there's a long history to this, but basically it's Young Money versus Good Music. And basically there's the whole thing about how like it kind of starts with Pharrell in a strange way.
Yeah. He didn't get paid for a beat in 01.
Right.
So, and his Clips was on that song. Mm-hmm. And so thus Pharrell has not worked with a Cash Money artist since then. And that beef has largely been pointed at Birdman and Lil Wayne. Then Drake, obviously, as he signs Young Money, which of course Young Money is in Cash Money. So Drake kind of inherits, that beef. It's like, fucking League of Nations shit, World War I, right? Yep. And
the only podcast dropping League of Nations in their fucking Drake versus Pusha.
Pusha's kind of taken shots at Lil Wayne over the past like 10 years here and there, right? And like, Exodus, one of his hardest songs, one of his first really big diss tracks as a solo artist came out, probably 2012. That's Pop Cans on that. That's a great song. The Dreams on that too. And so this beef has kind of been brewing. And then
hasn't Drake been teasing like a Pharrell collab recently?
And that's the thing. Pharrell doesn't say anything. Pharrell just works his ass off and just chooses who to work with. Oh, another part about this was like Billionaire Boys Club. Like Lil Wayne wanted to like ask for Billionaire Boys Club, and then like the clothing line. And Pharrell's camp, they're like, nah, if we don't fuck with that. And then he wore like a video anyway, and that like really pissed them off. Like there's a lot to this. I think Ebro and Rosenberg did a great rehash on this. On Hot 97, and obviously they were there when that happened, so like they're better to speak about than me or you. But it's fascinating stuff, and like recently we talked about this in the pod, Two Birds, One Stone, that Drake diss record where he took veiled shots at Pusha and of course got more attention for kind of calling out Cuddy's, mental state. Yeah. Right. And Pusha's kind of been referencing that as well. Drake called it at me. So, I was waiting for my turn to go back on Infrared. And since he hasn't actually had an album come out since Two Birds, One Stone came out, it just happened to be a long wait. And, here we are. And the thing that's weird about this beef to me, or, if it's really, I don't know if I feel so much beef, it's just dissing. Like, I don't think Pusha T hates Drake, like hates his guts or anything. You don't even know how much, well, they even really know each other. But right. Drake was in Wyoming working with Kanye on Ye and at these sessions. And he's been working with him before. So, and I think that's why, like, Duppy Freestyle, I thought was a fantastic response.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Story of Adidon followed it up. But before that, Duppy Freestyle was fucking great. And Drake's like wow, that's I'm in shock. The audacity. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, Drake is totally justified. He's like, why are you shooting at me? He's like, I pop style for 30 hours and let him repeat. It's like, bro, your guy that you work for, I've been helping him out, helping him write songs. You had me in Wyoming to help write songs. Why are you calling out me for having someone write my songs when Kanye's the one who made ghostwriting popular in rap? Like, it's just the stupidest charge. And Nicki tweeted about it. She was like, people always going at Drake for the old shit with Quentin Miller, blah, 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 right? And it's like, yeah, it's like, come on, like, Drake don't write his own songs. He didn't write some of his songs. A lot of people didn't write some of their songs. It's fine, So I thought the whole base of the beef was dumb, but W Freestyle was a great response.
But the Story of Adidon,
by simply name dropping Pusha's fiance, Pusha popped off. Yeah. Story of Adidon. No. So I listened to Story of Adidon the next day because on Italy time about 6 hours ahead. So I was asleep.
Oh my god!
That great Twitter day where Roseanne got canceled, Story of Adidon dropped, and the Pokemon game got announced on Nintendo Switch. One of the world-class Twitter days, and I was asleep because I was in a different time zone. So where were you when that song actually dropped that night?
So I literally was reading an article about Brian Colangelo's 5 burner accounts. Yes. And I finished reading the Ringer article, and I come back, and I'm like, oh, there's a response. And Twitter was going off. And from basically 9:30 to 11:30 at night, I was just sitting on my couch cackling, like reading people just like blowing up this everything. Oh, it was an amazing Twitter night. Yeah, man. I mean, the thing I come back to Drake is obviously like the biggest artist on Cash Money, Young Money label right now.
Biggest artist in rap.
Yeah. So everybody's going to be taking shots at him. So he rarely can win in these sort of things, especially with someone like Pusha, who isn't afraid to take the gloves off and hit below the belt. I mean, he comes at Oval 40 in the Story of Adidon. He comes at Drake's identity and like his racial identity and his insecurity with it.
Yeah, with his hair and stuff. Yeah,
not only with his hair, but then with the cover where Drake's wearing blackface. Right. He comes at Drake, "You are hiding a child." Like, goddamn, like there's so much that he like digs into there. So this is really a no-win situation for Drake in my book, because Drake's already, like you said, the biggest rap artist, biggest pop artist in the world right now. This can only really elevate Pusha, and Pusha ended the beef. I mean, Jay Prince came out and said that he asked Drake to not respond, and apparently Drake had a song in the chamber ready to come back. So,
which was apparently going to go at Kanye a lot too, which is, man, it's very weird how that whole relationship has disintegrated, But yeah, Jay Prince jumped in and from Rap A Lot Records, of course, and then someone else chimed in too. I forget, but I think like they were saying, it's like, Drake, you're the head of OVO, you're the biggest guy going, and Pusha, you're also the president of Good Music,
right?
And it's getting like personal, it's getting dirty. Like, let's stop this. We don't need to do this. And like, Drake kind of was diplomatic, I guess, because he had to be. He was like, about the blackface, here's my explanation. And it's not like, it seemed like he was, I guess, well intentioned, but obviously didn't land. And I just find that actually just a peculiar misstep for Drake, because Drake's such a calculated artist. He has been for some time. It's part of his genius. And
yeah,
the fact that was just sitting out there waiting to be exploited against him, because it doesn't take much. It doesn't matter the fact that, like, when you think about it, all right, it's not as bad as it looks when you hear the context, but Pusha doesn't need to use the context. He just presents it as a fucking album, a song cover, and it's fucking perfect, you know?
Yeah.
So I was surprised that Drake didn't previously address that, because if he was someone who was struggling with his blackness and his identity, as he may have been talking about in 2008 when that photo was taken, you would have liked to have heard a little bit more of that in your music. You know, you don't do interviews, so we don't know that that's what you feel. Yeah. So when this comes out, just makes you look bad.
Well, and I mean, there's so many other pieces to this, like Adonis, which is Drake's secret child's name, was going, Adidon was going to be the name for Drake's upcoming clothing line with Adidas. Mm-hmm. So now you drop this and basically you take away that clothing line, because now it's associated with you being a absentee father, not supporting your child, not taking ownership of being a father. I mean, there's so much
right
there. And I mean,
and you know what's funny about that? Just the clothing line aspect. That's following up one of Drake's amazing little pokes in Duppy Freestyle. I think that's the thing about Drake too. He did this with back-to-back when he's going at me, right? Mm-hmm. It's like Drake will like throw, like, I think Rosenberg was saying, he'll throw the little grenades to go up, blow up into camp and stir mm-hmm. some shit up in good music, right? And he's like, oh, like the thing about the Virgil line. And he was like, oh, Kanye, you remember how you've like struggled to be accepted in fashion? You can't just do it on your own. You have all these collaborative people with you, and you just can't get where you want to be. And then Virgil was with you, and Virgil goes off on his own. Next thing you know, he makes Off-White out of nothing, one of the most ascendant fashion brands we've had in like the past 5 years. And like Kanye, that's what you wanted, and you just let that guy leave and do it on his own. That sucks, doesn't it? And then Pusha somehow was able to make a response to the fashion angle. Like, that's the thing. Like Ozzy is a fan of both artists, big fan of both artists. I'm also a fan of hip hop over both of them.
Yes,
they're just seeing this. Man, they're both so smart. Like, they're such great back and forth, and it is kind of a shame we didn't get to hear more of it. Although it probably would have disintegrated into, like, I think parts of Story of Adidon are a little rough. Like Tupac, when Nas is like, "You're a rat," and Tupac's like, I fucked your wife." Like, those aren't like bars anymore. Those are just like insults. Like, it's not, it's not as good. So yeah, I think that's kind of the way it was going. So it's probably for the best that it stops.
If Drake's song came out and it was coming at Kanye and Kanye had to respond, I feel like that's the point where it would have gotten into like a weird like area. Like, who knows how Kanye would have responded, what he would have said. It could have gone a lot different directions. So probably for the best it ended when it did. But the thing is, you got to give the round to Pusha T. I mean, that's the thing. Drake, the biggest rapper in the world, got bodied by Pusha T. So
and that was the thing. Everyone's like, he beat Meek Mill, a guy from the streets, and he had a great response to Pusha really fast. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. I mean, Drake's been interested in battle rap. So, I think he knows that the 40 line is possible. And Pusha may have released that on World MS Day. Not a great look. You didn't need to do that.
So the other crazy thing,
Drake, I don't think Drake expected that. No one did.
No.
But fucking Pusha had his researchers, man.
That investigative journalism. Just one other quick note. Apparently, how Pusha found out about the secret child thing was from our guy ASAP Rocky.
Rocky denied that already.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, Rocky was like, that's some bullshit. He had like a tweet about it, which you wouldn't know what the fuck he was talking about if you didn't know the context. But he was just like yelling about like, don't implicate me, blah blah blah. I think that was like a gossip report, like 6 months ago, right? That Drake had a secret kid.
Yeah,
and people either believed that it didn't, they let it go, and then once you put it in a rap song, everyone's like, "Whoa, fuck, it's real."
No, well, it's if anything, it's just entertainment. and I was thoroughly entertained by it.
What did Rembert tweeted? He was like, I have laughed at 640 Drake Pusha tweets.
I felt that so much. Like it was like a whole day. I was just reading stuff and I was so into it.
And the best one, like obviously, like this kid is probably like a few years old, so this doesn't make sense. But it was like when Adidon goes to school and everyone realized he was right, and he was like, "Oh,
yeah."
It
was the Roy Williams like walking into the locker room gif, like jumping up and down. It was awesome.
Great time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a week in the rap world. I mean, you had Daytona, you had this beef, and then you had Ye drop this past Friday. I stayed up till midnight on Friday to watch the live stream, which was very underwhelming, but it was
kind of like Easy Season 3 was underwhelming for Pablo.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, even for that, you got to see like Cudi and Kanye like jumping up and down, like, and that's a gif, like that's a moment. You see Kanye like behind the boards. This was just Kanye walking around a fire, like dapping people up and smiling. I was like, this is not that interesting.
A lot of people were there though. Did you see the pictures? Like Chris Rock was there, Jonah Hill was there. Like, well,
Chris Rock actually gave like the toast to open it, and he had a line where he was like, so they flew out like 150 movers and shakers, writers, reviewers of the music world, and they're around this big fire when they drop the album, and Chris Rock is like, enjoy the big fire tonight, tomorrow it turns into a cross, and like people did not like that at all. It kind of set the tone for,
that's great because Kanye's like pseudo religious.
Yeah, it was like I couldn't believe it. My mouth dropped when he said that.
I wish I saw more people aggregating that.
It was crazy. So then Kanye starts to play Ye, which, I mean, if you want to talk about the way the life of Pablo started with this beautiful, soulful gospel song, Ultra Light Beam, to last night I thought about killing you, premeditated murder. I was like, all right, here we go, buckle in.
You know what's great about that song though, which I think is probably the weakest song on there, just because it's a glorified intro track. But he was like, he's like, what did he say? Like, I love myself.
Yeah, I love myself way more than I love you.
So I thought about killing you.
So, yeah, man. I mean, the thing is, like, so Kanye drops another 7-track album. That's what he says. That Pusha, him, Kid See Ghost, Tiana Taylor, Nas. Well, I don't know if Nas will be 7 tracks. We'll see. I don't remember if that was included. Yeah, but that they're going to be shorter albums, and he's trying to focus it a little bit more. 7 songs is like almost the perfect length of this album, because I think it leaves you wanting more, but at the same time I can't really imagine getting more and kind of liking it. So I think it kind of nails it as 7. And obviously it's been 2 years since Life of Pablo dropped, and probably like a year and a half since he stopped working on Pablo for good, producing it and fixing it up.
Right.
Did you like Ye?
Yes, I did. Ooh. I think Ye's hot as fuck.
Here we go. Tell me, what did you like about this album?
So I think we're pretty obviously in like, we're in late career Ye. Yeah. LeBron's in his 15th year. He's becoming a mercenary soon. Kanye, much like Jay-Z and Eminem, has to change as he gets old. And unfortunately, that doesn't mean he's become a little lyrically deficient. I think this album is similar to Pablo in sense that the lyrics are just not quite up to snuff as past work, which is tough. This is his 8th album, his 8th good album. He has a very high bar for himself, but for whatever reason, he's not putting as much time into the verses. But you still get the flashes of vintage Ye all over. I think what kind of shows this album already shows its age, because you have like the Tristan Thompson references and the Stormy Daniels references. You have stuff like that. You also have shades of current trolley Ye. The Russell Simmons line fucking got me too'd. Like that kind of plays into his Bill Cosby innocent tweet. Not the best look, but it's kind of what Kanye is like nowadays, right? But I think there are 4 fucking bangers on this 7-track album. I think it's awesome.
So a funny tweet I saw was someone that didn't like the album said the best part about this album is that Kanye planted the biggest Tristan Thompson or the biggest Kobe diss that I've ever seen. Basically equating Tristan Thompson's level of basketball ability to Kobe Bryant is just ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking up the lyrics here to All Mine. Let me read you a couple of my favorites. I love your titties because they prove I can focus on two things at once. Yeah.
That's Kanye. That's Kanye though.
Let me hit it raw like fuck the outcome. Hey, none of us would be here without outcome. Hey.
That's like famous part too.
Yo, I literally when I was watching the live stream, I literally cringed. I was like, come on, like, yeah. I mean,
line again.
He's a bit sophomoric, and he's even called himself out for being, I mean, a douchebag. He very famously in one of his best songs ever said, "Yeah, I'm a douchebag. Like this is kind of who I am." And we know Kanye's been incredibly controversial throughout his career, but particularly recently, with all the Donald Trump stuff, the slavery comments, like you said, the bill, he defended Bill Cosby's innocence.
And then what's he say in this album? Easy trolling OD, huh? Which is kind of what we thought the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a really interesting guy, but I agree. There's at least 3 songs on this that I would say are going to go down as classic Kanye songs. Ghost Town, I think, is maybe the hottest song of the year, and 070 Shake is freaking. This is her Nicki Minaj on Monster moment. Just like, all right, I'm about to steal this shit away from all these much larger artists on this track. Yeah, I think Wouldn't Leave is really great.
Yes, Charlie fucking Wilson, dog. Oh no,
yeah,
sorry,
man.
He's No Mistakes. No, Wouldn't Leave. That's one with Ty Dolla $ign. Yeah,
yep.
Wouldn't Leave's awesome.
Yeah, Wouldn't Leave is great. Violent Crimes. I can't go back and forth because like it hits. I think
I've listened to that one the least, to be honest.
It hits a really great note for me. It's sentimental, but at the same time, like lyrically, it's just like very cringeworthy. Talking about not wanting his daughter to become hot, because he knows like he was an asshole to women and disrespects them, and that she'll probably be disrespected. It's just he talks about possibly beating her. It's like oof, like.
All right, man.
I mean, he did the
great observation.
Yeah, I was gonna say you did this a lot better on We Major. We didn't need you to try to explore this a little bit more. So just kind of let sleeping dogs lie. But you mentioned before you felt like Kanye gave all the good beats to Pusha on this, or the better beats. So that makes me think you don't really feel like it's production wise or sonically up to Daytona.
I think it's not that. I think these beats are just by design. Like smaller. I won't say muted, but like it's not big production the way Daytona is. These are, it's kind of like Pablo beats. He's, I don't know. He's just it's kind of more for the vibe. So like I don't think none of the beats have really stood out to me for like the whole length of the song. But at the same point, I think like Yikes and Wouldn't Leave and No Mistakes are good beats. They fit the song well. But the beats aren't the star of any of the songs the way I think like the beat on the games we play and is half the reason you listen.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I think I agree with that. I also think I get a very like Graduation mixed with Pablo type vibe. Like sure. I mentioned, we Major, Celebration. Yeah. Like those could have fit very well, or these songs probably could have gone in there in some ways. Although I think Graduation as a project is a lot more focused and refined, obviously. So I'm going to ask you the question that everyone that reviews a Kanye album has to ask after. Where does this fall in your rankings at the moment?
It's probably 8th, but
yeah, I think so too.
It's right there. I think. Do I kind of, my rankings change a lot, especially at the bottom, but
sure.
I mean, 808s and Yeezus are like big swings that some people love, some people hate, but like you give them a lot of credit for doing what they did. And 808s in particular, incredibly influential, right?
Right.
And then Pablo was something that the longer it was out, the more people realized, wait, there's a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
And by design, Ye is a shorter album, but I think there's great moments here. But I think it's tough to make the case right now that it's better than anything else. But I think it's still good. I don't think he has any bad albums.
Does this album make you forgive Kanye? I've actually seen people asking this, and I mean,
why was that the question? Like,
right? Yeah, that's the thing is, like the Ringer exit survey I was reading today, they asked something similar, and the response I agree with most is that I never had anything to have to forgive him for because I don't really care about his opinion.
Yeah.
I care about his art, and
I think most people have felt that way for some time now.
Yeah, the outrage.
We said this when we realized the albums were coming. It's like I never thought he believed much of what he was talking about on the the alt-right shit. If he wasn't even really that much alt-right, and he never had an opinion on policy. He's not. He's just trolling. And unfortunately, I wish he wasn't doing it. And Pusha T said as much as well. But it's like, whatever. Kanye's a narcissistic guy. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm listening to the music, and like the Guardian tweeted thing. Why isn't Kanye being canceled? I'm like, why are we canceling him? He hasn't fucking done anything wrong.
Yeah,
he did shit we didn't agree with.
Although it is kind of crazy because I do feel like this is the Kanye album with the least amount of hype around it, which is
that's trtrue.
Crazy to say.
175 to 190 is the projection first week. 70 80 traditional. That would put him. If it's low end, it put him 5th in terms of rap releases behind Post Malone, Cole, Cardi B, and Migos. And he's never been a dominant, chart mover, album seller. Drake has beat him every single time. So I actually think that's a very healthy first week, given all the boycotting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when we were texting about it, you basically put it into terms where, or I think you tweeted this as well. Kanye's albums go from very good to like, I don't know, like a
masterpiece.
Yeah, masterpiece. So you're basically dealing with like the top of the top, like the cream of the cream here. So, I mean, definitely going to be a lot of hot takes for time to come on Ye, and we want to hear yours. So hit us up at Nowstalgia Pod on Twitter. Comment on our YouTube breakouts. Share our YouTube breakouts with friends. That's how you help us grow. Check out our XXL freshman breakout, which is getting some attention right now because XXL freshman will be dropping soon. And
probably next week. I mean, it didn't drop today on Monday. I feel like they would want to drop it on Monday. So I assume next week, but maybe this week.
And like I said, we'll be coming back later this week talking Solo, a Star Wars story, as well as The Tale and
Fahrenheit 451 from HBO.
Which we got to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, any feedback, hit us up. Any last thoughts for the people, Dave?
One last thing about Ye. He basically acknowledged this, or maybe Pusha said it, I forget. He re-recorded a lot of that since the whole blow up thing with the slavery comments and the Trump stuff, right? So I'm just curious, like, what else does he have right now that's seemingly pretty close to being ready? How much of the Wyoming sessions, of which we know there was a lot of time spent there, how much of that is on the album? And also, shout out anyone who ever thought TurboGrafx 16 was a real project. I wish I could have that kind of optimism.
Kids Have Ghosts comes out this week.
Kids See Ghosts.
Kids See Ghosts. Kids might have ghosts as well, but they will be seeing them this Friday. We're gonna be getting Tiana Taylor, Nas coming out end of the month. We got Gorillaz. That Florence and the Machine album was coming out soon. So
also this week, Georgia Smith debut album. Quickly becoming a very big fan of hers. So I'm excited for that.
And we also have Black Thought and
Father John Misty
in the chamber. So a lot of stuff to get through throughout the month, as well as some movies coming out, some TV shows wrapping up. It's a busy month. So stay tuned at Nowstalgia Pod. Stay plugged in, and we'll keep bringing you that content.